Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the event. My name is Morgan with Polaris Business Solutions, and today Todd will be presenting on the new features of Acumatica AI. Todd, I'll turn it over to you to get started.
Thank you, Morgan. And thank you for attending our event here today, which is Introduction to Acumatica AI. I am Todd Delaney. I'm president of Polaris, and Morgan Pisco, our business development lead, will be leading you through the presentation here today. Our goal is to give you a high-level overview of Acumatica's AI features as they exist today, and also have a little bit of a look forward into the future, what Acumatica's plans are. Give you a little bit of an introduction of Polaris in case you're not familiar with who we are, and go into AP document recognition, which is an existing feature that has been out for a while, as well as the anomaly detection for GL. It's a good time to review these things. And we'll talk about some new features that just came out with the latest release, which is the anomaly detection for GIs, and talk about AI Studio and what we can do with that today. And again, we'll of course look at the future enhancements. Polaris Business Solutions, again, if you're not familiar with us, we've been in business for 19 years, coming up close on our 19th anniversary. We've been working with Acumatica since 2011 and been dealing with ERP for, well, for the 19 years that Players has been in business. And, I've been doing ERP even longer than that. We're gold level certified partner with Acumatica, and, we have clients across the U.S. We're headquarters in upstate New York and Auburn, New York, and the Finger Lakes regions. We've got consultants in several different states. And our primary area expertise are project-related companies, but we also, of course, do manufacturing distribution as well. So that's a little bit about us. We're going to then get into a demo. I do have, I think, Morgan, we have a quick poll question we want to ask. This help us determine what everyone's experience is with Acumatica. So, Morgan, I think you have a poll question for that.
Yep, I'll go ahead and launch that now.
And I'll get ready for the demo. In a minute to submit this. This again just helps me understand, are we talking to a bunch of Acumatica users or people who aren't familiar with Acumatica? All right, that's helpful. Thank you. All right, so let me share my screen. Morgan, we should see my dashboard, which is the GL anomalies dashboard right now. Is that correct?
Yes, I can see that.
Perfect. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that exist right now in Acumatica as it relates to AI. So, I'm logged in here as an admin, so I have super rights to this instance. We're running Acumatica 25R2, which is the latest and greatest version. 26R1, we should know more about that in a couple weeks. So it should be out later this spring. So we're looking at the latest and greatest Acumatica. No customizations on here at all. So this is all standard out of the box sales demo type stuff. First thing I want to talk about is something that's been around for a while. So if you're using Acumatica, you're probably familiar with this, but it's a good place to start anyway. And that would be incoming documents or document recognition. So in payables, we have an incoming document screen where typically we read an inbox, right? So, AP@companyname.com. They can read all the attachments that come in there, and they can do recognition on those invoices and help process those into the AP bill screen, save you some data entry work as well. So here you can see a copy of my water bill that we get delivered to the office here from a local vendor here in Auburn, and kind of can tell from the right-hand side, it's an older looking invoice. And we've recognized invoices from them before. So if I click on the recognize button up here, and again, this would be something that would be automatically done, but I just wanted to show how this would work for demo purposes. So, when we recognize it, it's going to go and try to find information and populate it into the screen. So here you can see it has now populated some fields on here on the left-hand side. It's found the vendor name. It's found the date down here. Pick that date. Found the vendor reference number up here. and it found the amount down here, 1512. So it's done a pretty good job of finding everything related to this and on this invoice. It's also added some lines down here for me as well. But notice it had a little difficulty finding the sales tax, which is sort of buried down here. So I can help train the AI and by clicking on here and saying I want you to pull in the sales tax, and then I can tell it where to find the amount and click here. And then now, of course, you can see my detail total and the invoice total are equal. So now we can continue. So this is partly how you get the system to learn as you're going through AP documents and recognizing this. So if I click on save and continue, this will now create the AP bill for us. This uses a service that Acumatica subscribes to, so it is based on the number of documents that we read. And notice it's brought everything in here now. In addition, we have the attachment. Well, I need to hit save first to look at the attachments. I'll save the AP bill, and the attachment, of course, is here too. So the idea is you can, quickly, you know, do some data entry in here without saving you on the data entry, right? So it's doing the recognition, adding the fields in here for you, adding the transaction descriptions as well. This will also work with expenses too, doing the expense recognition using the mobile device and the Acumatica app. You can take pictures of receipts, and it will do the same thing, add the attachment, and do some of the coding here for you, saving you some time. I'm not going to get into that today, but it works very similar to how AP document recognition works. In addition, another feature that's available is a GL anomaly detection. So you may notice my dashboard here, when I first logged in, is a GL anomalies dashboard. And so it is showing situations where it thinks we see some unusual transactions, right, in a particular account or sub-account and branch. And so let me show you how we set that up. First thing we do is enable the feature, and of course, but then we have to analyze accounting transactions. So in here, we can train the model. We can analyze the transactions, and we can get the status of where what each company is, where they get the status of what if the training model has been done or not. So here you can see this particular company is ready for analysis. I can train the model too, so I can click here and see that this company is pending training. So I can process this. This is just a large language model. Any type of AI system needs to be trained on your data. What is normal for a particular GL account for one company could be different for another company. And so you do need to train the model. This is a process screen. So if you're familiar with Acumatica, we can schedule these process screens to run, nightly so that we're always getting the most related, most up-to-date information in the screen. So now that I've ran that, again, I can see on my dashboard, I do have certain anomalies. I can see I have some anomalies in here in sales. I have some anomalies in AP, etc. So I can analyze or review these anomalies now. So I'll do new anomaly predictions. Here we are in General Ledger. We have an inquiry screen called Review Anomaly Predictions. So this gives me an inquiry screen that I can populate. So I'm going to look at the company warehouse to 2025, and I'm going to pick a account that I know has an anomaly. And here we can see all the transactions that exist in this particular company branch, period, and account that has some anomalies. Of course, I've sorted this so it sorts the highest anomaly here at the first. Let me do it that way. So it starts at the top. And notice what's highlighted in here for red. So it's seen some odd things in this particular combination of accounts and sub-accounts coming from the AR module. And if I click on the anomaly score to 99.71, I can see where did it come up with this particular score. So in this case, the highest anomaly score is on the account and customer vendor. It found that this is a really unusual unit price in this account and for this particular customer. I also did find that it was a pretty large amount for that account branch and sub-account as well, and maybe a slightly unusual amount for that account. So what we're looking at is any anomaly score over 50, we're going to highlight. So if I look at another one here, you see that a different anomaly got highlighted here. It is the account branch subaccount that it thinks is particularly unusual. Well, we can take a look at these transactions, right? We can drill down into it like we can with any inquiry screen. And let's say we've done that, but we've determined that it is actually a legitimate transaction. So we can click that checkbox and we can mark it as valid. And then that will help train the model to understand that, yeah, no, these type of transactions can actually happen in this account and sub-account. Of course, we can also click on these and mark them for review to go back later, or we can click the reclassify button, which opens up the reclassify transaction screen for us to say, yeah, you know what we do? We actually need to move this. So this screen here gives us a chance to look at any GL anomalies and be able to, train the model as well, make corrections, throughout the month. So perhaps you're not caught when you're trying to close and you're seeing some unusual transactions. So that's a GL anomaly detection. In the recent version of Acumatica, we've had some additional features added. It's called generic inquiry anomaly detection. If you're not familiar with Acumatica, generic inquiries is where we go in and we build reports, inquiry screens, data, be similar to quick queries and SL or Smart List and GP. We're able to pull in information from several different sources and then group them and sort them and present them for reporting and for dashboard purposes. So I'm going to look up um, EI in here. It's going to open up the sales order. It's called machine learning, sales order margin analysis. So this is a regular GI. It could be any GI that you have here in the system that's analyzing any sort of data. You'll notice I have an anomaly detection tab here. Well, how did that get there? Well, we have under the interface options a checkbox that says detect anomalies. You have to have this turned on in the enable features function to allow for GI anomaly detections. And what you do, you can turn on this detect anomalies, and then that will enable the anomaly detection tab for that particular GI. There's a limit to how many GIs you can turn on for detect anomalies, so you would have to check into that. And also, if you've been on Acumatica for a while, you may need to change your license model to get onto the newer license model so that you can enable these AI features. We've done some repricing of this for some of our customers, and they've been pretty much the same. In one case, was actually even less than what they're paying now to be able to get to these features. So if you're a fairly newer user of Acumatica, this is sort of a mute point. But if you've been on Acumatica for a while, you want to reach out to your partner or to us, and we can help you with that. Um, so if I go to the anomaly detection tab, we can see we have some options and what we're going to be looking for and anomalies on this GI. So our field for analysis here in this case, we're going to look at margin percentage. So we want to look for any odd margin percentages on here. And we're going to do this, we got to tell what date field we're using. And then we have certain grouping options. So all right, we're looking for margin percentage that is odd for a particular inventory ID. We could add additional grouping on here if we wanted to. Perhaps we wanted to look at it for inventory ID and customer, or perhaps we wanted to look at just order, or if our margin percentage just seems low for a particular customer. But in this particular case, we're looking for just, margins that seem off for this inventory item at any sales order lines that we've done. So once we've set up the generic inquiry, we do have to train the model as well. So we go into detect anomaly detections and generic inquiries. And this is a process that you run. You'll see the list of all the generic inquiries that you've turned on for anomaly detection. Here's the one that I have down here below. You can see we last ran this on January 6th. This is demo data, so now a lot has changed. And of course, we can schedule this to run every night, every week, depending on the frequency that you need to see the data updated. So this, again, is the screen that would have to be run regularly to make sure you're looking at the most recent data. So then if I go and actually look at the inquiry screen itself, sales order margin analysis, and open up the screen, this is the basis, this is the final result from the generic inquiry itself. I give it a second to load. There is a lot of data in here. All right. So here what I'm looking at is the output of the sales order margin analysis. And you see I got a few things highlighted here in yellow. And I also have some additional columns here called anomaly severity and expected value. I'm going to filter on the anomaly severity screen and get this down to maybe, I'll get rid of is empty. Sometimes it'll be empty if there's not enough data. Perhaps you haven't sold enough of that particular inventory item yet to know what would be an anomaly. And I'm going to ignore, of course, normal. So I'm going to look at medium and significant. And so when I filter this inquiry on that, we can see some things highlighted in red. So here again, we can see this one in particular is a significant anomaly. For some reason, our cost on this is about $14,700, and we seem to be selling it for about $80. So yes, that is a significant deviation from our anticipated margin percentage of 27.16 margin, and we got negative 25,000. So we can then drill down into this to see what happened, who entered in this order, has the order been approved yet, et cetera. So if you think of, this gives you a quick way to find these. We, of course, can use this as widgets too. So if you have, an AR person that, or, purchase order or an SO, sales order person who is in charge of this, we can make sure those anomalies get on their dashboard so they can review those quickly. Um, but these are just a couple examples. If you're a project-based company, think about all the different ways you could look at anomalies. And there, perhaps there's a PO that's going to greatly deviate from the budgeted margin on there. That could be an anomaly that could be detected. There's a lot of different options on there, things that you want to be able to try to prevent. So that's our GL anomaly detection. That's available now in 25R2. Next thing I want to show you is, what Acumatica is calling AI Studio. It's, sort of the first version of this. This came out also in 25R2, and it revolves around large language models. So first thing you have to do is you have to set up a connection to a large language model. So I'll open that up and show you what we have here in our demo system. We've connected to the Anthropic AI connection. There are a few options available here currently. Use AWS or Azure or OpenAI to use as a basis for creating prompts, right, and analyzing Acumatica data. You will be able to put in the information as far as what model you're using, your API keys. We can help you set up these different things, but you're basically connecting to an AI source to help run these prompts within Acumatica. So this is the connection. And then now we have a screen within Acumatica to actually run the prompts. So have you seen some of these at Summit before, which is the annual conference? Some of these may look familiar. We'll drill down into this a little bit more. In future versions of this, we hope to do some additional options and show you some things on the project side and how we can do this. But let's look at one that I think is fairly universal, which is the closure notes ones, and just sort of talk about how this can be used or how it's been set up. First, of course, you connect it to an LLM connection, so you can have certain connections for certain types of prompts if you want to do that. And then we can, once we make this active, we're going to want this prompt to be available on a screen. So we pick what screen we want it on, and we pick what we want the button to be called. So it's called generate closure notes. And then down in the instructions is just a prompt. So if you ever used ChatGPT before, and you know that based on how good your prompt is how good your output's going to be. And so here's a very good example of what a good prompt would look like. So, you tell it, hey, you're a support documentation specialist. You need to create a standard structured closure notes. And we want you to look at this sort of Acumatica data. So these are Acumatica data fields. And we want you to look at these activity logs in here and then summarize the information into these six different line items. And, we give it, in some cases, options to pick from. In other cases, we are asking it to sort of summarize it. And then, we're going to put this into this case closure notes section or this tab. So once you write the prompt, and again, you can copy this prompt into something else, change the data fields around, right, to start building some more, or just write a prompt from scratch. we can then test the prompt and see how it's working. So I'm going to find an example in here of a closed case, which was some shipping charges questions. And so then I'm going to ask it to test the prompt on here. And then down below, we're going to see a preview of what that would look like. And so here we can see it has summarized the transactions, summarized the activities on that particular case, and put it in the format that we've asked it to do so. There's some additional things here about, how the prompt was working, and then the response on here. But the idea is, so this gives you the sort of playground to kind of test the things out before you activate them and push them out. I can also show you one more. It'll be the stock item description. So another item in here where basically you're basically a copywriter trying to add product descriptions based off what we have in the system, plus some other additional data that might not be available within Acumatica, but also make sure you're fixing grammar and spelling, and put it and give it a very good description of how we want this laid out as well. So I'm going to pick a good Conair table, hockey table here, and I'll test this prompt as well. Takes a few seconds. So the idea behind this is like this could be used for websites, all right? So and can be updated very quickly. So here you can see it's built this description partly from what was available in the stock item screen, but also available elsewhere as well. So having these prompts and be able to pull in data from multiple sources is definitely going to be very powerful. I'm thinking like for a lot of our project companies, like if you close a project, let's add a button on there that basically summarizes, the activities around the project, or review the financial, balances tab to indicate, where we might have performed better or worse according to budget and actual transactions, right? And then perhaps provide some feedback. So if you're reviewing projects that's closed, you can sit down with a project manager and review some things like here. It looked like we went over budget on labor, over budget on subcontractor, and be a little more proactive without having to go through a bunch of data. This is what AI does well, right? Is looking at a lot of data more quickly than we can. So again, this is available now if you're in 25R2 and if you're on the latest licensing model. If you're not, it's pretty easy to change it, and we can talk about that on a case-by-case basis. So this is all available now. So then the next question is, well, what else is coming? So we have about 5 minutes to sort of discuss that. So let me bring that up here real quick. Oops. Tab. All right, so here is sort of where we are, where we've been, and where we're going. This is a highlight here. So, AP document recognition, we showed you it's been out for a while, receipt recognition as well. We didn't talk about intelligent text completion. I think a lot of people are kind of familiar with how this works, but it's now available in Acumatica too. So as you're starting to type in certain text, it will drop in, the rest of the sentence. Think about like when you're texting or when you're doing emails, it will do that now. Also have to turn that on though in Acumatica. Anomaly detection, so both for GL and for GIs now are in production. Related item assistant, did not review this either in our meeting. So again, for inventory related things where you're selling items like, hey, why don't you also sell this warranty? Or hey, here's a replacement item. That is something that is currently available as well. AI Studio, so it is, available now, sort of limited release, if you would, but in 25R2. And then we have some things that are sort of coming out in the future. Interactive assistance. Well, I'll give you a quick preview, or we have a slide about that. Automation agents and AI connection services. Let me look at the next slide here. So this is sort of the next thing. Anticipate hopefully 26R1, but might be 26R2. Will be interactive assistance. So this is a chat and voice interface. So you can see here in the screenshot, like, hey, how are my sales today? And this answer in the black is what the AI came up with. and it gave you a, hey, click view data if you want to see a chart, and then here's a list of the chart. So it's going to be, a chatbot basically that you can ask questions about your Acumatica data, and it will interpret and return the results in the screen, and also be able to, create like a little widget for you, and you can ask follow-up questions, etc. So, hey, what time cards am I missing today, right? What AP bills need to be paid today? There's just a lot of different things that this should be able to do. Very excited about this. Like I said, the goal for Acumatica is to launch this in 2026. So that's part of what is next. In addition, their vision, Ecumenica's vision for moving forward is, multi-tiered, and goes, far out into the future. Help interactive assistant here, we just talked about. That's the second one. The first one here, help agent. We've seen a little bit of this as on the partner side when we uh, go in and create support cases. There is an AI portion to that we've been playing with sort of from a beta standpoint. So this will be rolled out soon. Don't know when that is going to be exactly. Customization assistant. So this will be able to allow creation of tailored workflows. Um, right now, it's all done through a customization project. It's no real coding is involved, but it typically involves someone like from our team to do it. But with the customization assistant, you should be able to talk to a bot and say, this is what we want the workflow to be. If we want to change the workflow on change orders or on project quotes, we should be able to do that with the customization assistant. Automation agents, right? So you've probably seen agents at work now with different AIs to be able to automate task and workflows. This is something that they're definitely working on. So think of some of those repetitive things that you have to do. In Acumatica, obviously, we can schedule processes and we can do some imports and we can do things of that nature. But using an automated automation agent will make it smarter and more efficient. And then, of course, the digital twin. I mean, I think we're a ways off from this still, but being able to handle tasks and monitoring operations and interacting, that's basically a super agent, right? That will be able to optimize things and would never go on vacation or call in sick or anything, right? So that is what the vision is for Acumatica. Again, they do pride themselves on being a software company first. I know this has always been something they've been talking about. We're seeing more and more of this in each version. We have a minute, and if there's anyone that has any questions, I can do my best to answer that. You can put that in the bot, or obviously reach out to Morgan or I. Any questions, Morgan? Seen any yet?
It doesn't look like there are any questions. No.
Okay. Well, again, obviously, feel free to reach out to us for any more questions. We'll be doing more of these, particularly with each release. So be sure to stay tuned. And again, thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.